What I'm going to demonstrate to you here is a program I've written for this quite ugly robot, admittedly, but it's going to stay within the confines of this Sumo oval, hopefully, and it's using the colour sensor down here to analyse the reflected light intensity. It's got the ultrasonic sensor on the front here, not using that at the moment. Eventually I might put something in the middle of the oval and let it detect that. And I've got a very ugly claw looking weapon here, and this weapon here may spin at various points once it hits the edge of the oval. Also, once it hits the edge of the oval, the graphic up here changes to some eyes, some confused eyes, and it plays a little sound. But at the moment, I've just got it queued ready to go, and I've got this graphic up here indicating to the user that they should press the touch sensor back here just to start the program. That could also be used to stop the program. Anyway, I'll get this going and hopefully it will stop at the oval. Now, I've had some issues with this before. When you set up a program and you try and run it the next day, sometimes the light changes and you have to change your levels. We'll see what happens here. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it will stop at that black line and then turn around, make some sounds, change the eye, or change the graphic up here into some eyes, and continue. Anyway, we'll see if it works. So far, so good. Now, down this area, it's been struggling a little bit. Yep, we got it. The light wasn't really good down here. I'm surprised it actually found the line. Appears to be working. No problems there. Okay, now I'll show you how that's done within the Mindstorm software. It's going to come right at us now. Probably a good view. And we'll pause. Now, just to give you a little bit of an overview of the program itself, if you have a look at the screenshot taken from the Mindstorm software, you'll see that it opens up with a graphic showing the touch sensor. As I said earlier, this is to prompt the user to press the touch sensor to start movement, and you'll see that in the first block. Now in the second block, you'll see the wait for the touch sensor, and it won't continue until the touch sensor is pressed. And then immediately once you do that, I've just noticed now, I wasn't really looking at it while I was running it, I've changed the graphic there to some eyes which are looking down to the bottom right. Then it moves into the main loop, and within the main loop there's another loop. So we'll concentrate on that smaller one. You'll see that block where it's got the steering block, move steering block, and it's got A and D. I've usually set them up on different letters, but in this case A and D, and it's moving as expected forward. And I've got to zoom in to read these numbers. So it's only going 0.2 revolutions at a speed of 60 by the looks of it. And then it's checking whether in the next block you'll see that loop interrupt with the color sensor, and it's checking if the level is under 70. If the reflected light is under 70, it will move on. Otherwise, it will go back and continue and keep going along. And you'll see in the green blocks after, once it does actually move on, you'll see that the graphic changes to these eyes called Crazy 2 or something. And it plays a sound called Blip 1, like a robot sound. It sounds a bit like R2-D2. Then motors A and D are used in a steering block, and it's turning to the right. And you'll see it's 1 revolution, and then it moves on to where B and C are used, and they also move around in 2 rotations at quite a fast speed, 100, at the fastest speed, I should say, 100, and they are the weapons. C, I believe, is the claw, and B is the blue star-shaped object. And I actually have another brick there. I didn't even check whether this is working. I'm assuming it was. And it changed the brick buttons there to green. I was going to do something else with that, but anyway, that's what ended up still in there. And I was going to make them red if something else happened, but that doesn't matter. And you'll see in the next block, the final block, you'll see that the eyes change back to what they were in the third block, looking down to the bottom right, and then the loop starts again. Now, I don't want to give too much away, but hopefully that helps you understand a bit more about some of the simpler parts of starting with robotics and Mindstorms. Okay.